Where you? Chairman Watkins?
Yes.
Did Sam Henderson get in touch with you about Operation Hope wanting to?
Yes.
Okay. And what is the outcome of that?
I told them if they wanted to jump on the call, they could. Y'all have anybody else, any other special guest plan?
To my knowledge, no.
Okay.
Hey everyone, this is Rachel with Public Affairs. We are streaming live on Facebook. Right now we're waiting to get up live on our website at www.macon-bibb.us. This is an audio test for the live feed at Macon-Bibb.us. Commissioner Watkins, we should be ready to go right at 9 o'clock. We are streaming live on both Facebook and Macon-Bibb.us.
Thank you. Thank you. Hopefully so. Still waiting on a few more members to join us though, right? Still got about 8 minutes.
Okay.
Hey everyone, this is Rachel Gamble with Public Affairs. To all the attendees, we're just getting your microphones and videos set up. We are streaming live on Facebook and Macon-Bibb.us right now. So just be aware that people might be able to see your smiling face this morning. We'll be getting started in just a few minutes.
Good morning to all. How y'all doing?
Good morning, sir.
How are you, Virgil?
Doing well, doing well. Thank y'all for joining today. We're here for what may be one of our last budget hearings of this budget season. And that is my goal today for the committee. We've gone through the budget in its entirety. We made a few changes along the way, some big, some small. We've heard from the public at our public hearing on this Tuesday, and today we want to provide an opportunity for any callbacks or second reviews or any final amendments that may come out of committee before we submit this budget into the entire committee.
Commissioner Watkins,
yes,
this is Rachel. Quick question. Are we expecting someone named Mary in the meeting this morning?
I'm not familiar with the Mary offhand.
That's my
Jason?
colleague at Operation Hope.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to confirm that.
She's the president of Operation Hope.
Okay.
All right, and I know we have members from Operation Hope on the line. We made a budgetary change. One of our major amendments to our outside
Commissioner Watkins.
Yes. What's happening? Can you hear me?
Hi, Mary Aronson was joined from Operation Hope. I can sign out and sign back in if it's not time.
I'm fine. You can just stay muted here.
Commissioner
Thank you for joining
Watkins,
us today. Yes.
you do not have a quorum. I just want to make sure you were aware of that.
No, I was looking at gallery view. I just assumed that's not on the screen. Okay. Me and Commissioner Schlesinger.
Oh, damn.
All right.
It's me.
Other side.
All right. So outside of any changes or amendments to, well, kind of pause even for any action.
Commissioner, y'all can have discussion. You just can't take action on anything.
Okay. All right. So to that point, like I say, we're reviewing and covering any areas of concerns. I'll open it up to Mayor Rickard or Dr. Moffitt to discuss anything that they may have.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll jump in and just say that at the last meeting, your reduction in the amount of funding for Operation Hope has drawn the expected reaction from Operation Hope, and they asked to be heard this morning to tell you a little bit more about what they do here in Macon and what their program is overall. And I think we've got a couple of people from Operation Hope that have chimed in and called in this morning. So if you could hear from them at some appropriate time, we would certainly appreciate it. I've also talked to Mayor Pro Tem Tillman, and I don't want to speak for him, but I think he is amenable. I don't want to speak for him, but I think he is amenable to some way to try to find a way to restore that funding.
Okay. Why are you talking? Any updates on our pay scale information? Or I still haven't received any. How's that moving along?
I'm gonna let Dr. Moffitt handle that.
Yes, we had a very good meeting on Tuesday with public safety and the company doing the pay scale. We are finalizing the numbers that we agreed upon based on their research. The next step is to complete the document, look at the general employee section, and then from there, commission wanted the initial the first draft to go to the advisory committee. And so once we have that draft, we will schedule a meeting with that advisory committee for their review. And then from there, we will present it to commissioners.
All right, and timeline on
Chairman?
that first draft is still what?
Probably 2 weeks for them to go back and do the calculations. And then from there, probably 2 weeks to schedule the meeting with the advisory committee, and then probably looking at an additional 2 weeks to present it to the commissioners. So we're probably about 6 weeks out from having some numbers in front of the commissioners.
I'm frozen.
All right. Talk to me a little bit more about our right-of-way plan, right-of-way maintenance plan. I know we may have been able to make any progress on starting on that RFP.
No, sir.
Right. And I know it's only been
I
a
don't have
couple
an
of days.
update for
I
you.
asked you about that last time, but give me a timeline or a thought process on that operation as well, though, if you can.
Commissioner Watkins.
Yes.
One other thing, Mr. Chairman, Dr. Moffitt can confirm this for me, but tentatively, we have made the decision to maintain parity between the sheriff's office and the fire department. That has been in place for, I would say, at least 20 years, if not more. It was controversial, has been controversial, but we thought that the best thing to do was to maintain parity for annual pay between equal ranks in the fire department and the sheriff's office. So that's part of that. And if you need to have that discussion, if your committee needs to have that discussion, we can certainly chime in on that. Dr. Moffitt, isn't that accurate?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That is correct.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
But
yeah, I didn't realize, and I guess anything can happen, but I didn't realize there was a possibility that parity could be removed under this process. Yeah, so I'm glad we're all in sync on that.
Well, that the first draft that we got back did have different rates, and of course, different rates of annual pay. That we all know and acknowledge that the hourly rate is different, but the fire department gets overtime because of certain numbers of hours worked in a 24-hour period versus just a straight time. So there is an hourly rate that's always been different, but it equates when you do all the time and a half and this, that, or the other to an equal annual salary.
And in meeting with the public safety representatives, i.e. the sheriff and the fire chief, we discussed the entry levels for the department to make sure that a fire recruit with no experience is the equivalent of a sheriff deputy non-certified. Then the next category is a park ranger who has some certifications in there, which is on the law enforcement side. And then
have y'all
third category
on that first category of non-certified and private entry? Have y'all settled on a number yet? What an entry level?
It's very preliminary. So, but it's very preliminary. But they agreed on a number they thought they could do recruitment with. I don't want to give you that number because I don't want to lock into anything right now because we're doing the final analysis of calculating how much that's going to be. And then the final category is a fire private with EMT certification will be the equivalent of a sheriff deputy certified. So those are the three entry-level categories. And both the chief and the sheriff felt that we would be very competitive in the marketplace by having those three categories.
All right. Talk to me about entry level of general employees. One of the things I've taken note of over the COVID, well, just outside of that, but just the concept of a living wage. I know we've got some people, at one point we were under the poverty line, 20 or right at minimum wage. Am I wrong? What's that minimum?
I'm not sure of that number. If we have anybody that's under the, I don't think we do, but I need to verify that. But yes, but the pay scale.
I know some years ago when we went over this poverty line, like I think we bottom out currently at our lowest paid employees, what, 24,000, and that is maybe about 200 people.
No, I don't think it's that many. And those are some of the lower positions. But I believe that when you get the scale back, we'll be able to look at that because that was addressed to make sure that all our positions, whether hourly or exempt and non-exempt, do come to a minimum level. So that is addressed in the study.
Well, what type of formula are we? I like that new concept of the living wage. I'm not sure where it is now, but what type of math are y'all using to?
Well, again, that's what the committee is going to present, and you serve on that advisory committee, so that's information that you will be on presented with when we talk about what the market value of each position is.
Okay. All right. And I'm sorry. And has anybody else joined us?
And
I'm kind of hogging.
Yeah.
Nope. What's going on?
Commissioner, we're contacting them, so we're trying to get the other three on.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. So again, you say we're still 2 to 4 weeks out on.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
From having so having some hard numbers in front of you.
All right. All right. Unless somebody else has something else on the pay scale, I didn't want to go too deep on that without having hard numbers. But if not, I see we have the members of Operation Hope here, but I do want to value you guys' time. Unfortunately, you have only have two members to speak to, but we are recording this, and I'm certain either some members are probably watching in their car and unable to log in, or they'll watch it later. We will probably end up making, once we have a full committee, we will be taking amendments and making some actions. I know of members who contacted and have some ideas. But if you could take a little time and explain to us about Operation Hope. I know it's familiar. I'm familiar with it as a credit repair, in-depth financial aid to our citizens.
Mr. Chairman.
At our last meeting, we reduced your budget amount by $50,000. I believe last year you received 100. For two primary reasons. First being the way our budget is set up this year, and with the COVID, we needed there was a shortfall. Secondly, we didn't feel like it was robbery because from our general fund, we have quite a few different, other than our general fund, we have quite a few other pots of money. CDBG, Community Development Block Grant Funds being one that we think your program is eligible for. And our concept, I think, or at least some members of the concept, is to have y'all apply during that time, and over the course of, I don't know, maybe a year or two, have y'all switching over to there if that formula grant continues to form. And there are also some other grant pockets that we think can make a little bit more sense. But I did want to, you guys, it happened kind of very quickly, and you guys had expressed an interest in reaching out and communicating with us. And I did want to give you that opportunity. So I'm not sure if it's going to be Jason or Mary, or if Mayor Rickard wanted to tee him off and introduce, but I'll give you the floor now.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate that. I would say that Macon-Bibb County has been a part and affiliated with Operation Hope for several years. We actually were on a program at that annual meeting in Atlanta about 3-4 years ago and made a presentation there. John Hope Bryant himself has actually come to Macon on a couple of different occasions, and I think he is impressed with Macon and wants to try to continue to help us. He has authored multiple books, but two that I think have really caught my attention is, number one, How the Poor Can Save Capitalism, and it's a fascinating concept of how so much of the nation's economy is in the hands of people that make very little, but because of that, they spend virtually everything that they make going hand to mouth. Very little of it goes into savings or the stock market or this or that or the other, and it's such a driver. But he also has a real passion for people that prey on the poor, people, the check cashers who take a disproportionate amount for cashing a paycheck or whatever, and the number of people that are unbanked They can't open a checking account. They can't even open a savings account at a bank in a lot of occasions simply because they don't have the requisite background and information that they need to open a bank account. So the number of unbanked people in our community. So anyway, we have been very pleased to have a couple of folks working here on the financial literacy aspect. That was the program. But there are multiple different programs that Operation Hope provides. And so with that having been said, when we told them that their budget got cut, they wanted to at least make a presentation to the commission and make a plea for the restoration of that funding and tell you a little bit more about what they do. So Sam Henderson, I think, was in touch with Jason. And I see Jason has called in this morning and Mary as well. So I'll turn it over to them and let them tell you a little bit more about Operation Hope and specifically what it does here in Macon-Bibb County.
Mayor Rickard, thank you so much for the introduction and also for the opportunity to share who we are and what we do. And Chairman Watkins, thank you very much for giving us the floor and for the opportunity to present to your team and to your organization. We are extremely thankful for the partnership that we've had over several years right now, and the impact has been tremendous. And so for me, this is something that we are extremely, we value this relationship so much. And as much as I wanted to present to the team of the board, this is bigger than me. And so I asked the president of Operation Hope, Mary Ersom, to join this conversation as well, from the very top of our organization, to show our how much this partnership means to us and how much we care about the work being done in Macon-Bibb. And Mary, perhaps you can share your background at Hope and then some of the impacts that we've had together with Macon-Bibb over the years, over 2019, and even over the first quarter of 2020.
Sure, absolutely. Well, good morning, everyone. Mr. Chairman, thank you for letting us join your meeting. I want to say good morning to members of the committee, and Mayor Richter, thank you for the opportunity to join this morning. As Jason, well, and I love your opening comments too, when we say that with Operation Hope, it is, we may be defined as a financial literacy organization, which is indeed true, but more than anything else, what we say and what we do when Macon with you all and with your support is about financial dignity. And it is about empowerment, it is about uplift, and it's about working hand in hand with individuals, small business owners to, as you said, help them make the right decisions to take control of their financial future. I have been with Operation Hope for just under 23 years. And I have been engaged in our work together from the very beginning. I'll share with you some, updates, and even we just had our 2020 quarter one meeting with Sam, as you referenced, and the team. And we're already at 162% of the goals that we set. We've delivered over in 2019 alone, we've delivered 2,900 financial coaching sessions. The key is not just the number of people we're serving or the number of services delivered, but it's really what's happening next. Are we helping people raise their credit scores? Are we helping individuals get into homes? Are we starting small businesses and helping them get going? And we can provide you with a separate report, but more than anything else, I just want to say thank you to all of you for your partnership. And no matter, which path we go from here, we are extremely grateful. And I can speak for our chairman, John Hope Bryant. And, God willing, when we can, whether we're 6 feet apart or not, we will make another trip to Macon because it is important to him and it's important to us. The strength of Operation Hope, we have now 152 offices across the US. We are headquartered in Atlanta. as much as we've grown and are expanding, the local partnerships that we have are the strength of what we do. We can't do anything on a countrywide level without having the relationships that we do on the ground. I did want to share, so many things are relevant to what we're talking about and what we've done together, but I did want to share a bit on what our COVID-19 response and now recovery strategy has been. As some of you may know on the phone, we have our adult empowerment work, which we're doing with you, helping small businesses get started, helping people buy homes, which we plan to do a lot more of this year, and helping individuals raise their credit score and stabilize their credit, and how that impacts their family, how it impacts their performance at work. We have a lot of information and data, supporting that. But we realized, with our third division, it's helped individuals that have been a victim of a flood or a tornado or some type of natural disaster, where we work with the American Red Cross and we work with FEMA to help individuals stabilize and rebuild their lives again after a natural disaster. On March 13th, we, within 4 days, transitioned our entire network of Hope Financial Wellbeing coaches to a virtual platform so that we could do a mass mobilization of the team to work to help individuals that have lost their jobs, individuals that have gotten furloughed, individuals that have had some type of income disruption on their household, whether it's their spouse, whether it's themselves. And then we're working with hundreds and hundreds of small businesses. We help them navigate through the PPP process. And now, many of the businesses were in trouble before COVID-19, so we're helping them repair. And this is something that we're going to continue for the long run. As I said, we started as a response and now we're in a full recovery mode. So that's certainly something that is, already in play with our coach, our Hope Financial Wellbeing coach, your coach, but it will continue to share. And I want that, know that there's a resource for Macon directly by your Hope Financial Wellbeing coach, but there's also an 888 number that individuals can call and get counseling at night or in the morning or during the day. So we'll share that information with you as well. And of course, we, over the last week, we've realized that, with Operation Hope, founded 28 years ago after the civil unrest in Los Angeles, after a police brutality and a verdict, we honestly, I'll just be real because I've been with Operation Hope so long, I feel like we're just beginning and turning a bit of heartbreak into focus so that we can deliver more services to more people. We are extremely grateful for our partnership and extremely grateful for the 50,000 commitment for 2020.
Mr. Chairman, one other thing I would say is that currently Operation Hope here in Macon-Bibb is located at the Buck Melton Center, but there has been some thought to whether or not it might be a good fit to put them in the Booker T. Washington Center once it's remodeled, so that some of their programs in the Booker T. Washington Center in the Pleasant Hill neighborhood, there they are literally building houses and trying to get people in houses, and the Community Enhancement Authority is working hard. And it would seem to me that might be a terrific partnership between the Community Enhancement Authority and Operation Hope in the Booker T. Washington Center in Pleasant Hill. But we hadn't made any of those decisions, but that's just something for us to consider while we're in the process of remodeling that facility.
Additionally, Mr. Chairman, please note that it is my understanding, and I need Michael to research this because the former attorney, Mr. Drake, researched it before he left. This is a 3-year contract with 1 year optional, and that we are in that 4th optional year. So this is the year or time that we need to renew the contract. And so I would need the county attorney to verify that, but does the Operation Hope agree with that we need to renew the contract?
Yes. And not, which I don't think would be a difficult process. It would be a continuation of what we're doing. And as you said, Mayor, really working to enhance the work that we're doing to help individuals build wealth through home ownership. But
Okay,
yeah.
so just know that our process is what it's doing now. We have to bring the contract before committee and get it voted on by the full commission. So we would need to do that resolution. Does it expire June 30th or December 31st?
No, I believe we're on the June 30th calendar, and Jason will take care of getting you everything that you need. We'll make sure you have everything you need, and we'll go through any process that makes sense to you.
Okay.
I know that you have a very full agenda this morning. I did want to share that we are, and I love the idea of the community block grants. We can explore that and move towards that. We also are on our end working to identify both some foundation, some private sector potential funding as a match to the 50. If it is within, respectfully within the budget, if it is an opportunity to increase to the 100, we'd be grateful. We want to continue our partnership, and I just was happy to have this opportunity. This is the first time I've had this opportunity to actually see you all in person, and thank you. So whatever this committee feels appropriate to approve, we will be with you each step of the way to get you what you need.
Well,
Yes, sir. Please continue. Go ahead.
Oh, well, and again, I have not had the pleasure of talking to you, so this is the first time I've talked to you, but what would the impact of a reduction of $50,000 mean for operations?
Yeah, so if for this particular coach, the coach is 100%. We actually have 2 coaches that we've allocated, but we have 100% of the coach's time is dedicated to our partnership. So we don't have another funder. So what it would mean would be that Operation Hope would be operating at a loss. And as a nonprofit, especially in this economic environment, it's a difficult position for us to be in. So we would need to secure the additional 50 from another source to make it viable to continue.
Question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Please.
Prior to Macon-Bibb coming in and giving you the additional $70,000 3 years ago, when you all were operating at $30,000 that we were only giving you, what were you doing prior to that? Because It sounds like you're saying you took the money and hired somebody, and normally we don't give money to hire people. So for years, y'all had operated from us just giving you $30,000, and then under a former county manager, we bumped it up to $70,000. So the question again is, what were you doing previous to that? And usually we don't fund salaries.
Sure. Yeah, no, and thank you for that. There was additional funding that had been secured at that point in time. And it was, again, as you said, it was going towards program activity, but we didn't allocate full-time resources at that point in time to focus on 100% on the program. Another thing that happened in the end of 2018 was that one of our big partners who was going to expand their work with us said, we want to do it, but first we want to look at your finances. We want to look at how you're measuring and reporting impact, and we want to look at your operations. So they hired Accenture to come in and do a 90-day, very thorough assessment of our work. And they found that the way that we were budgeting for our work was driving us into the ground. And they mandated that we increase the price point to make sure that we're covering all costs. And our board ratified that, and we had to move forward in the beginning of 2019. So that's where we are now. Remember.
Okay, a follow-up question, Mr. Chairman, if I may. This is
Yes.
Tillman. 2 years ago at y'all's annual fundraiser, y'all had Bill Clinton that y'all brought in.
Yeah.
Year before that, y'all had Reverend Jesse Jackson with the Rainbow Push. These folks have foundations. So y'all are paying to bring these folks into Atlanta annually on y'all annual big fundraiser, such names as Bill Clinton and Jesse Jackson, but y'all can't raise $70,000. We gave you $70,000 additional. So you saying out of those foundations just alone, where the Clinton Foundation is giving away millions that y'all had him at y'all last event. Y'all couldn't reach out and try to get $50,000 from those sources and from those folks in Atlanta, because y'all's annual event is in Atlanta where all the big time folks are. It's not here in Macon. So then I think the funding source that y'all should be seeking is in Atlanta, not here in Macon, because that's where the annual event is. And that's where everybody, Ludacris is there. Y'all had Ludacris there at this foundation. He has a foundation. And so all these top celebrities that's annually there at y'all's foundation, I mean, I just find it hard to believe that you're saying that you're going to struggle with $50,000 and you guys are you paying these folks?
Yeah, we're not paying them, no. And
But they have these large foundations, but they're attending y'all's events. And I just find it hard to believe that Ludacris, who has millions, Bill Clinton, who has millions, Jesse Jackson Foundation, who has millions, that y'all, I yield. Thank you.
No, absolutely. You are 100% correct. Absolutely. And we have worked with, to be honest, we have not received any money from the Rainbow Push Coalition. Reverend Jackson donated his time to participate in the events, but there was no funding that's been allocated to Hope. And we worked with the Clinton Foundation, but they were more interested in work that we were doing in response to, other areas, particularly response to natural disasters. But you're 100% correct. There are, everyone that comes to the forum in Atlanta donates their time, right? So and we do have sponsors for that event that pay for the activity, but I'll be real with you, it's more of a fundraiser than a fundraiser for us. But that said, and I want to just reference again what I shared earlier, is that we are exploring all opportunities for funding to keep doing what we're doing together. So it was more of, I was really happy that we had the opportunity just to have this conversation, because I want to make sure you have all the information. And if it makes sense to you from a budgetary standpoint, great. And if not, we will work towards finding a solution.
And I want to take the time to chime in and reiterate, I thank you for your partnership approach to this. I think me, along with many members of the community, value the resource that you've been able to provide to the members that you've been able to provide it to. I say we're having, and I think along with the rest of the country, are having some serious conversations about budget. And our general fund, again, is not as flexible. I think we have some other opportunities you mentioned, and I think if we're all willing to work together, we can eventually come to some type of resolution that may make us even stronger through partnership than we are today. And to that end, I think if I'm understanding you correctly, at some point in the next few months, if things don't come together, you have 2 employees that work there now, and at some point, worst case scenario, you have to make a decision. I get it.
Exactly. Well, I don't anticipate getting to that point. We want to make this work. We've, as we all share, we've been partnering together for over 6 years, and it's been. Yeah. So
just so you know that you aren't completely singled out, at the first of this year, January, which would be the mid-year for our budget plan, we are already having part of the original budget conversation were employee furloughs. We've pushed those back to a little bit later in our year, and we'll be having those type of conversations. You heard us talk about the pay scale as well. We're just very uncertain about our finances and are taking a somewhat conservative approach as a body. Sure. If things are improving and we can do it, like I say, and I'm very optimistic on, like I say, some other grant sources as well. Right. But I know you guys have a busy schedule, and if any other members of the committee have any questions, we can do that at this time. Otherwise, we can move on to some other items.
Sure.
Will you let me make one closing comment, Mr. Chairman?
Certainly, sir. You're the closer, it looks like. I know you had a couple other members join us.
Yeah, right. I would just try to echo what you just said. There's a tremendous benefit to Macon-Bibb County from being in partnership with Operation Hope. So it's not just what we get here, it's a matter of being in the number of people that partner with Operation Hope. And I think it opens up a lot of avenues for funding if we are in partnership with Operation Hope. And I think it raises the awareness of the community of what we're doing. So I appreciate your thought. And to Jason and to Mary, I would say, we need to get the information to you and let you follow up with an application for the CDBG program, because they've got a fairly strict timeline where you have to come and attend a little meeting and then put in your application to be considered for funding. We need to get you that schedule and get somebody from Operation Hope down here for that.
Right.
But yes, I hope we can work something out so that we can continue the good progress that we're making. And tell John Hope Bryant I said hello.
No, I absolutely will. And Mayor, I want to thank you I want to thank all of you for your questions. Again, respecting your schedule this morning, I would like to, and Jason can send this to you, but I want to send you my cell phone number. And if anyone has questions that may arise after this call today, please feel free to give me a call. I'd be happy to have a further conversation with you, and everybody's input has been extremely helpful. At this moment in time, we are planning to, our forum was originally scheduled for the end of this month, or excuse me, the end of last month. It is now rescheduled for the 19th, the 20th of October. We'd love to have you again as our guest. So we'll send you information on that. You know, again, God willing that it can happen, but we will keep you posted. And, you know, we'll all work on this together. We'll also get you the information about the free virtual services that can be provided for those that are have been impacted by the COVID-19 virus. So I appreciate you this morning. This is even more than I had anticipated. So I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us.
All right.
Great day.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you,
Mr. Chair.
Chairman. And thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
I hear Mr. Yes, sir. Mr. McNeil.
Yeah, just one comment. I've since Dr. Moffett asked about the contract, I've got it right here. And the current contract with Operation Hope, it started July 1st of 2017. It was for a 1-year initial term with 3 renewals. So the initial term was through June of 18, and then the 3 renewals would be 19, 20, and 21. So we've actually got about a year left on this contract.
Yeah.
Okay. Y'all work that out.
We'll work that out.
No, we'll work the contract out on a different day. Let's keep moving. Yeah. I heard him though. I see Keith's face or Dr. Moffitt's face.
Thank you. We will leave the meeting. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Bye.
And we now have a quorum. Thank you for joining us, Commissioner Lucas and Commissioner Schlesinger, round out the 3 members of the committee. And we also have Mayor Pro Tem Tillman joining us as well.
Yes, sir. So we need to pass a law to ban the activities of physical therapists because they kill you. And so I left physical therapy. I just left physical therapy. We need to pass a law. That's all I gotta say.
Commissioner, I'll work on an ordinance for you.
Please do. I gotta go twice a week.
Appreciate you joining us, though. Sorry you had to go through that. It'd be better.
I didn't know. I didn't think I was gonna make it.
So we have like I say, just recapping, we have went through our process of reviewing our budget. We've made quite a few tweaks and amendments, and we presented that at a public hearing to the community at large. Our next step is to pass a budget document that the rest of the county commission can vote on, and thus ending our budget process for 2021. So now I've gotten to a point, took a while, but I'm not satisfied with all aspects of the budget, but I've gotten to the point where it's a document that I'm comfortable on passing. I don't want to rush the rest of you along. And if anyone has any questions, amendments, or feedback, I think today would be a key day to do that.
I have one thing I wanted to ask, and that's community development. I remember what, 2-3 years ago, we changed the head position to manager. Why was that, and why I don't remember the justification for that. Why is it not a director? Why is that position?
Ma'am, I was not a part of that, but that's one thing that we have talked about in the upcoming pay scale. Is we modify some of these positions and their authority and their responsibility. So we can definitely, as I say, that's one of the probably recommendations that we're going to have going forward in the new pay scale. But that history, I cannot tell you the answer to that. But we are looking at that right now. So it's a couple of positions that we are looking at making it director.
Okay, because manager just doesn't fit with a program like that. It just doesn't fit. And we at some point need to revisit why we still have the executive director of Urban Development Authority as second in charge of community development. I never understood that. And I think I voted against it when it was considered under the old city council.
Well, again, one of the things is I try not to put too much information out there too fast, but because you are definitely one of the commissioners coming back, I will share this with you. It is my intention, once we know the new slate of commissioners and mayor next year, that in the probably starting in August is trying to start some educational classes where we look at all of that.
Very
because
good.
Because we do know that we have a few supplementals that we're gonna have to make at the end of the year. And so all that is on the table. So discussions like that, like I said, those positions included in the pay scale, but also the organizational makeup is something that we definitely need to discuss, because there's a few departments that have some unequal responsibilities and duties that kind of don't match up in where they are in their particular department.
Right. Okay. That was all. Thank you.
And from an organizational standpoint, to the same question, if I'm understanding it right, we have a Office of Budget Management. That's not the it's not the OBM. What do we call it? Budget and Strategic Planning.
Well, because the big picture of that is that all the grant programs, which ECD is primarily a grant funded, on the org chart fell under the Office of Strategic Planning and Budgeting. And that primarily is our grants program. So that's why in consolidation that was put in that line in the organizational chart.
All right, so ECD, if I'm thinking, is a sub department of the greater
budget and strategic planning.
Yes, sir.
And what else? And I guess, and the Urban Development Authority is a sub category of ECD.
That relationship is that ECD is Macon-Bibb County, and Urban Development Authority is its own entity, but because of the partnership, that position reports to the ECD manager. No, we pay that. We pay, it's a 45-55 split.
All right. And I think I know the answer, but what other departments are in budget and strategic planning?
The org chart in front of me, let's see. Blight, grants.
How many people work in Blight? I didn't know we had a Blight division.
No. I'm sorry. Budget, grants, programming, planning, and strategic planning.
How many people work in grants? How many people work in planning, and how many work in ECD?
Okay, one working grants, that's Sharita. Planning is Ms. Moore. ECD is about 10. And out of those, let's see, I get an exact number in front of me, but 3 of those are fully funded by Macon-Bibb, and the rest of them are grant funded.
Okay. Yeah, I based on that, I do see the point that Commissioner Lucas is making. It does sound a little, just based on, you just got through talking about the CDBG grants. I don't know, that's what ECD does, right? But anyway, and you know, right now we've only been talking about the budget numbers. Esquire Groover, Attorney Groover, did that on Tuesday. Apologies.
You don't have to use both Esquire and attorney.
Yeah.
One or the other.
Lost my train of thought, sir. Apologies. Yeah, apologies to come back.
Okay.
You're too young for that.
I know. Now, I don't know why I keep on wanting to throw Esquire on his name and it throws me off.
While you're thinking, can I ask Keith what he found out, Dr. Moffitt, what he found out about municipal court and their furniture?
I found out that it was a hodgepodge of furniture that was already in the courthouse, furniture that we moved from the current offices downstairs, that the new equipment that was purchased was mostly technology equipment, but we have a list of potential capital that we are looking at. Several departments are requesting furniture, but it's just something that we're just taking on a as needed basis. So that's where we are there. But the equipment was refurbished and cleaned by the facilities department. I think the benches in the courthouse were refurbished and used from that capacity. So that was not all new equipment purchased, but again, the new equipment was mostly computers for technology, and the furniture was what we already had downstairs and was already in the courthouse.
Okay. Well, I know you'll stay on that, and where it's appropriate, y'all will make recommendations for new stuff. If you've got things that are not working, that are not safe for record keeping and all of that, then it needs to be replaced. Because I can just see the potential for some stuff, especially with desks that don't lock and things like that. So thank you for looking into that.
Yes, ma'am. And I try to over communicate with the department heads, but I ask again if we have some stuff that is just, as you say, detrimental, and try to put a plan together for replacement.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So my question was org charts. Like right now, we've only talked about the actual budget document, but the process for including the org charts and us approving those, what are our requirements there? Is my question to Mr. Gruber.
The org charts will be included in the final budget document that you will pass as a commission. Currently, based on what we have, when you approve out of committee, I've tasked HR director with go ahead with her to go ahead and finalize the org charts, because remember, in your budget we have some vacancies that we are unfunded, but they are still on the org charts. So she will be going department by department, finalizing that, and it will be with the document that you will approve. That is my understanding, the requirement that goes with the budget document.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Any follow-up questions, comments? If not, I'm gonna make a motion that we pass the FY21 budget out of committee as amended.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. Further discussion? There being none, all in favor of the FY21 budget as amended? Please
Aye.
say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Please say nay. All right, the ayes have it. We have a passed budget for FY21. Thank you guys for your.
Mr. Chair, can I ask the mayor or Dr. Moffitt if they have found out anything more on any federal or state monies that we might be getting?
Unofficially, I was on a call with some of my counterparts around the state and representatives from GMA. If you recall, we told you last week that we received an email requesting our account information. That call, GMA did advise us that to be on the lookout for a invite to a webinar that they are negotiating with the governor's office for money to come to the local governments. But because of the protests and over the last couple of days, that kind of took his attention. So they're hoping to go back to the table next week and work on what that would look like, about how much each government would receive. And from there, just to be on standby. Nothing is definite, but they have made an appeal to him to split the money to give local government some relief. Some of those, and again, I asked, so what would be the requirements for the funds? And they said that it would be, you could use it to give to local businesses to help them, or to recoup some of your potential revenue loss, to reimburse for expenditures. So we are compiling our list of what we spend on COVID in two categories, supplies and what we spend in personnel time with the alternate work schedule. So we're going to be prepared. If they tell us to submit a document, I hope to have it to the parties within 24 hours. And if they give us the funds, to present that back to you, and with a plan on how we can primarily use as a reimbursement for revenue loss and personnel costs. Okay.
All right. Thank you. You don't have any idea about how much is the state getting? What was that amount?
$4 billion is my understanding of what the state got, but 45% of that was to fund the communities over $500,000. I'm 500,000 people, and there were 3 counties and 1 city in Georgia that qualified for that. But still, the total figure was $4 billion. I understand.
Okay.
All right. And again, I guess the next big item for me, Mr. Moffitt, Dr. Moffitt, is going to be our right-of-ways. I want to get moving. I'm coming up with a better system for that as soon as we can.
Yes, sir.
If you can set up some type of meeting or Zoom, I'll take it. So we can start. I'm assuming it's going to have to come from the RFP side, and we'll have to get a little bit more creative than we normally have been. Now we just cutting grass. Yeah. We can maybe subdivide it into a bunch of small ones, and anybody with a weed eater and making that wants to cut grass. Shoot.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, is there anything else for the committee? If not, I will honor you guys' time. We can adjourn this now, unless you have anything else. I don't see any hands, any final closing statements. If not, we are adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you all.